The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Ravenswood After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Ravenswood After Show.
Nice twist. Hi, AFTERBUZZ fans. Thank you so much for watching us. We're doing another recap of Ravenswood Season 1, Episode 9, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. I'm your host, Emma Kay, and joining me is the wonderful and amazing Sarah Giraud. I was going to introduce you as Sarah with the triple G's.
Because I keep saying that on accident.
Sarah with 3 G's.
Yeah. Not 4 G's.
Yes. We have a lot to cover today. It's getting really interesting.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of information on Ravenswood, and we're getting, well, we think we're getting some answers, but then we get to the end of the episode and you're like, no, I didn't get the answers that I wanted.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really liking this show. It's getting interesting.
And it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
It does. Okay, I have to admit something. I close my eyes every single time.
I screamed very loudly today.
When I know something bad is about to happen, I really want to see what's going to happen, but I'm scared. I don't want to have nightmares at night. So I
didn't want to see the moldy Miranda. That was a little gross.
That was fine for me. I just didn't want to see the, you know how we've never really seen the black coat? I'm going to call him the black coat. We've never really seen his face, so I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be scarier, but he kind of looked like a normal person.
So I closed my eyes. I'm like, okay, is it over?
Oh my gosh.
You can kind of tell based on the suspense music what's going to happen next. But I want to talk about, I want to break it down today by couple and by individual, because it's gotten to the point where there's so much going on with each and every person, that we can't combine everyone together anymore.
Yeah.
One thing that is good, and it could play, in favor of the whole pact, or it could go against them, is Miranda having her jar now with her hair.
Yeah.
And this episode opens up with Caleb and Miranda talking about the jar. And you can tell that Caleb really cares about her. And it's more than a friendship.
Definitely.
I think they've gotten to the point where it's just they're, as they said, they're playing house.
Yeah, that's what she said. And it's kind of sad in a way because she's dead. And what are they going to do when they can't see each other anymore?
Exactly. So Caleb feels very strongly about the jar, and he's scared of what happened to Miranda previously when the jar was broken and she was able to get outside of the gates, and she was kidnapped, I want to say, and possessed by this little girl. So Miranda feels like she knows how to protect herself now, and she's not going to give in to so-called evil spirits.
She's a little more prepared. She knows what to expect, so I think she might be better off this time.
But I really want to ask our viewers, do you guys think Miranda is prepared to face the world? I mean, being outside of the gates once, was that enough for her to really know what to expect?
Was it really a good enough boot camp for her? Ghost boot camp.
But, you know, we see her helping out later on in the episode. And it seems like it was a good idea to break the jar and to, well, actually, I'm going to give credit to Caleb because he was really smart. He didn't actually break the jar. He just opened the lid. Yeah. So whenever he feels like Miranda is not safe, he'll close the lid, and I don't know, I'm guessing she
like teleports back somehow.
I'm guessing.
I hope.
Her.
Yeah.
She appears back in at the Collins family. But does that work if the jar is outside of the gate?
Yeah, see, I don't know about that.
Because the way to keep them inside the gate, okay, first of all, the lid needs to be closed, but
I think it has to be on the grounds.
At the same time, it's at the house. So first, you know, they're taking the jar outside of the gates, and they're opening it.
Yeah. So I wonder if they just unscrewed it and left it on the countertop at his little caretaker house, if she could leave, and then everything would be fine. So I don't know how that works.
I don't know. Well, we want answers from you guys because I'm kind of confused as how the whole jar situation works. But Caleb has a great idea to go and try to scare Collins. Takes the jar to Collins and shows him that he has it. I think Collins, as much as he wanted to react, he really kept his cool.
Yeah.
Up until the point where Miranda broke the vase, the jar, or whatever that was on the shelf.
And when Caleb was going to unscrew the jar, that's when he puffed up. And
he mentions to Caleb that it's really hard to get him to blink.
Yeah.
And as soon as the jar broke, he blinked. Caleb's like, well, you blinked.
That was awesome.
But do you think it's a wise move to go to Collins and to show him what they have?
You know, the more I keep watching, the more that I think Collins is not bad and he's just awkward and weird. And he's not telling them the things he knows for some reason because I don't know if he's trying to protect them because he knows how dangerous it is and he doesn't want them to go any further, or if he's trying to protect himself, or there's some reason that he's not telling them, but I don't think he's bad, and I don't think that he's trying to hurt Miranda or anything.
Okay. Well, you know, I think we'll have to see more of the episodes to really know and figure out what's going on. And one thing that also was confusing for me was Miranda in the coffee shop and how she turned into water.
Yeah.
Well, she seemed like, she remembered the car and how it was drowning, and all of a sudden she just saw herself in the mirror soaked in water, but she looked evil.
She looked like a zombie. I don't know if it was more of an evil thing. I think it was more that she was kind of like shriveled up and moldy as like somebody who had died in the water.
And to me, it was an obvious clue when the red coat appeared in the coffee shop right when Miranda had this transformation in the mirror.
Yeah.
Was the sign of evil that this girl is doing.
That's exactly what I thought.
But I still don't understand how they're not able to see her. If Dylan is able to see her, how are they not able to see her? And Miranda has seen her before.
Yeah. That makes me think that Dylan has some kind of possession or link to this evil pact somehow that makes it so he can see her. Otherwise, why would he be able to?
Okay. Well, let's move on to Remy. Remy plays a very big role in tonight's episode because she's been the one that has been getting a lot of the answers for the pact, and it's been haunting her at night because she can't sleep and she sees dreams that are not safe for her. Sometimes I'm scared if she's even going to wake up from her dreams because how tormenting it is. It's
and she's so connected to what's going on in the dream. So
based on last week's episode when she tried killing her dad with the knife, well, first of all, she tried killing Luke.
Yeah,
and her dad,
that was scary.
Her dad came to the rescue and she cut her dad's arm with a knife. So they decide and agree that they're going to go to the hospital. and they go to the sleeping disorder section of the hospital for them to do some tests, and it's only a 24-hour stay. So they put wires on her, and she has to sleep so they can monitor her brain activity and find out what's going on. You know, is it just dreams she's having, or what state is it at?
Yeah, they want to make sure that she's okay when this is all happening, and it doesn't seem like she's okay.
So they put her in this room, and they put the wires on her for her to sleep so they could monitor her sleeping condition and what's going on. And the doctor seems very confident that, you know, it's just a nightmare. But one thing that is interesting that she brings up is her old therapist and how she had asked for the files and they had sent it to her.
Yeah.
So one thing that was in the file was a picture that Remy had drawn when she was 7 years old, and it was I'm guessing the picture of the little girl was her.
Yeah.
With the black coat with a knife in the hand, trying to stab the little girl, which was Remy.
Yeah.
And they also take out the other picture, which she had drawn 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And it was the same knife.
And I must say, her drawing skills have advanced.
Well, did you see how many
drawings she did?
She did?
She had a lot of practice. Whoa,
she
my voice
doesn't
cracked.
sleep. She draws. I wish I had her talents, just not the sleeping part.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anything in my dreams. But she's able to connect the knife from the time she was 7 years old to now that it's the same knife. And she was telling Luke about it and telling Luke that she's able to connect the dots. And even though it's really weird for her to say that, you know, the person that came to her dream, she feels like it's real.
Yeah.
Even though it was a dream, she feels like the person was actually there.
Yeah, and then the doctor even said that your body is awake, but you aren't. And that's why everything feels so real.
That could be true for some people, but I think we all have to agree that Remy has some
weird things.
I'm going to call it talents. She has talents.
Special powers.
Other people don't have, and it could be good and it could be bad, but in this case, I'm going to hope and pray that it helps her out and it helps everyone else, so we don't see any more people dying. And, you know, when she goes back to sleep again, she goes back for the first time, and she sees herself sleeping when she was little. I'm guessing that's when she was about 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she witnesses the same black coat that she had drawn a picture of trying to kill her when she was small.
Yeah.
So she stops the black coat, and then the black coat ends up grabbing her from the back, and it seemed like he was trying to kill her, I'm guessing, or suffocate her, or do something
not nice,
harmful to her. And what amazes me is that no one is, except from Luke, no one is trying to wake her up when they see her in distress and she's laying there.
Yeah.
I know they're doing experiments and tests on her, but
there's a line.
You know, I don't know. I think it could harm your brain cells, something. I don't know if you let it go on for too long. So, you know, the doctor, of course, gets mad at Luke because he's trying to interrupt her study.
She called security. She made a big deal about it.
So she wakes up and tells Luke the story of what happened. But the second time when she goes back to sleep, and I asked this question, I said, okay, there's a chair right next to her bed.
Yeah.
Why aren't they letting anyone just sit next to her?
Yeah. I don't understand. Weird rules in that hospital.
So, but one thing I do have to mention before she goes to sleep, her dad admits to Remy that he was wrong about Luke.
That was really sweet.
And I really like that because it just, you know, when people are able to express when they were wrong, it creates a completely different image of them, because now, you know, if people are able to admit their faults, then they're not doing
I was
evil
thinking
or capable of doing evil. So I'm ruling him out of
Yeah.
my book.
Unless it's all a cover-up. Which I hope not. But you never know.
No. So the second time she goes to sleep, weird. She goes to sleep as herself back to when she was 7 years old. The setting was in that time frame, but she goes back as herself in current time.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and sees her room and starts walking around and calls out whoever's hiding in the closet, her boogeyman, to come out. And the clown appears in front of her.
And she's like, I'm not afraid of clowns.
You have to tell me what happened, because that's when I closed my eyes.
Are you afraid of clowns?
No.
Oh.
But I just didn't want to know what to expect.
I don't like clowns, but she was just getting really close to the clown, talking to the clown, saying, I'm not afraid of clowns. And I think she thought the clown was going to do something. The clown never did anything.
Okay. And then how did that scene go from that to her having tea with the deal maker?
Then the deal maker came in as a shadow or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. But he came in, and then they started talking. And then he started pouring her tea and everything. That was a little weird.
It seemed like he was pouring her medicine, like some sort of medicine, but poison type of thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a reflection of the injection that they were about to do to her. It was something to wake her up, but they couldn't wake her up. I don't know if that was simultaneous. Now that
And he brings up a couple of points which were really interesting. He said, he's basically doesn't leave anything unsolved, and he takes care of whatever deal has been made.
Yeah.
So if Remy has been involved since she was 7 years old, who made a deal that now he's came back to collect debts? Because he said he saved his mom from her mom, Remy's mom, from turning into
a pile of ash.
And I'm guessing this is when she was away.
Yeah, at war. Because he said the dog tags and everything.
But she doesn't mention anything about her dad, correct?
No.
He just said now he's back to collect debts.
Yeah, so I don't know if it has to do with the original pact being signed, and that's the deal, because that's the reason they're chosen, but she was trying to ask him why them, and she says, is this random? And he said, no, it's not random.
Not. So we know it's connected to Remy's mom, and whatever generational curse and pact has been made on the mom's side of the family, which makes sense why her dad would be so interested in knowing everything that goes on in the town.
Yeah.
And working for the newspaper archive, because maybe he's been trying to help his wife find out what's going on.
Which makes me think that I don't think that Remy's dad is evil at this point. But I do think he knows something, and that's why he has always been so interested. But I don't think he's evil, to go back on what we were talking about a second ago.
And this goes back to our first episode when we saw Caleb walk into the news. What is that called? Are you talking about the archive records where?
Oh yeah, the archives. Yeah.
Dad works, and as soon as he heard Caleb Rivers, he popped up out of his chair. So that name was very familiar to him, and we didn't know at that time why that name was familiar to him. But I'm going to predict and speculate that it has to do with his wife and him wanting answers. So however his wife is tied in and connected, we also know that his wife, Remy's mom, has been having dreams as well.
Yeah.
And she tried giving her some pointers last episode on how she can sleep and what has helped her.
Exactly.
So she was going through therapy, counseling, whatever it was, and we don't know what for. It could have been post, for the war that, she was serving.
Yeah.
But I think it was more than that. More than seeing people, around her be killed, as she said.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. But you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if all of these dreams, if Remy gets hungry when she's sleeping.
That's a good question.
Yeah. And, if I was eating when I was sleeping and during the day, I'd want something to remedy that. So, with Slim Fast, 2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. In just 14 days, the only thing higher than your confidence will be your hemline. This podcast was brought to you by Slim Fast, which, as I always say, tastes like the best chocolate milk in the world. FYI.
Now we gotta ask them if they really use it.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
back to the episode. Remy gets some information, but it's not enough for her to figure out. One thing that she is looking for is the killer of who killed Luke's dad.
Yeah.
And the knife, however that knife travels, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So we've seen Collins, and with it, we've seen the deal maker have the knife, and the knife is what's used to make a deal.
Yeah.
We conclude that tonight. So the deal maker knows who killed Luke's dad, but doesn't tell Remy who it is. And Miranda comes in time to, Miranda, we should say, escapes the gates of Mr. Collins. Yes. And shows up to the hospital with Caleb and Olivia, because he sees, was it Remy's face she saw?
Yeah, in the teapot.
In the teapot?
Yeah, and she said, we need to go help her, find her.
So, seeing Remy's face, however that triggered Miranda to know that Remy is in distress and she needs to help Remy, they show up to the hospital, and she walks into the doctors and trying to wake her up, and they're not able to wake her up, and sees the necklace. Mm-hmm. The necklace that's in her hand. When Miranda touches the necklace, she travels back in time.
Crazy.
Exactly. How does she do that if she's already dead?
Yeah. Well, it was more like she traveled, maybe not necessarily back in time, but into Remy's dream.
Yeah.
So that's the magical power that I've been seeing on Twitter. That's her new magical power.
Is that spoiler?
I don't know if it's necessarily a spoiler because we've already seen it.
Uh-huh.
But I would say that's
what more to expect. So can we predict that Miranda will be traveling back in time instead of Remy, or going with her now?
I think she can go with her to help her.
Okay.
Which is definitely good.
At least that's something, because she definitely needs help.
Yeah.
I think Remy is, in a way, even though she's capable of thinking clearly, I feel like she's possessed physically, because she's really not able to do anything. Yeah, and she's not a ghost, so I don't know what the difference is between like your spirit traveling and being an actual ghost. But I feel like Miranda's definitely more able-bodied and coherent when she's the deal maker mentions in this episode to Remy that she's seen too much, and that's why she's a part of this whole thing. But my question to you and also to our viewers is, did she see that now, or is that when she was 7? Because obviously he's been after her since she was 7 years old. And at that time, she didn't even know any of the friends that she had. Exactly. Well, I think that's something that's kind of confusing about it right now. We don't really know. And he's saying, who helped you? Yeah. So there's a lot of questions that are out there but haven't been answered. Well, she had never seen, all the things that she's been dreaming about more recently, seeing the pact being signed and everything. She hadn't seen that until more recently. So that's why I'm confused. I don't know if he's talking about that or all of her dreams in general. Maybe she just knows too much. Well, I think she has been seeing a lot. She was too small to put everything together. Yeah. So now that she is searching for answers and she is looking for specific answers, she knows what she's looking for. Yeah. But before, I'm sure things were just coming to her and she didn't even know what they were. Exactly. So Miranda comes, hits the deal maker over the head with a lamp. And grabs Remy to escape through, they go into a closet, which seems like it's a secret passageway
in a never-ending depth of clothes.
Exactly, to escape. And they start taking the road down, and of course the deal maker is running after them or walking after them.
Worst nightmare.
And not knowing if they were jumping off the correct hill. It just seemed like it was just like endless fall down when they fell. Miranda pushes Remy, but not in time for her to fall, and the deal maker grabs her. So she's able to pull herself and the deal maker down this hole. Yeah. Down this fall, and they all wake up. So Miranda's hoping that she was able to pull the deal maker out of Remy's dream.
Yeah. I was hoping that
do you think it worked?
They would leave him there, but I guess that's Remy's dream room. So I guess it's good that she pulled him, but I don't think he's gone. Definitely not.
I don't think he's gone. I'm thinking, if she pulled him out, is he going to show up in their real life?
That's what I was thinking, which is really not good.
Not good at all. So, I think that's going to trigger Mr. Collins maybe to start asking them for help.
Well, I was just thinking maybe that's the reason why Collins is keeping everybody inside, because he knows that it's possible to pull evil into the real world.
That's a good point.
Which is why my mom always told me never to play with a Ouija board.
Okay, so let's talk about Olivia and Tess.
Yeah.
I have no idea why Olivia is seeking, help from Tess, or why even involve her, but, I guess it's high school and you want to hope
Forgive and forget,
and you want to hope your friends they have all the right intentions. Yeah. But, she shares a lot of information with her that I don't think she needs to know. Yeah. And I'm kind of feeling, and I'm, going to bite my tongue and hope that I'm not wrong later on, but I feel like Tess and Dylan, whoever they're working for, that person, their boss, is against Collins. So giving Tess too much information can hurt Olivia and the pact, and as well as Collins trying to, which we're going to speculate and say he's helping or protecting these spirits. Yeah. But they show up at the hospital for Springer to try to find information and what he meant by the night before, right before he was hit by the car that Tess was driving. And I don't know, do you guys think it was odd that she just appeared out of nowhere and was right there waiting for Springer to hit him as soon as he passed up?
I thought that was a little fishy. I mean, it almost seemed like she was waiting there and then accelerated when he ran out in the street.
Yeah.
So,
but they're stopped by Springer's mom when they try to enter his room, and she's furious to see both of them there, but she's more furious to see, I thought she would be upset about Tess because she's the one that hit her son, and no, she's upset at Olivia.
Yeah, which really disturbed me. I was like, seriously? Everybody, they're here to visit. They're not, visit. Yeah. And she was so, like guard doggy, just getting really aggressive.
But we find out why, and it's kind of understandable, but not really, because they're kids and they have nothing to do with what their parents have done. Everyone could speak for themselves. And Springer's mom warns Remy's dad, Simon, to stay away from Olivia and Luke and their family because they're trouble. So Olivia finds out from Simon, Remy's dad, that before her dad was the mayor of Ravenswood, that he was the city attorney who put Springer's dad in jail. Yeah. And Springer grew up not knowing his dad and not knowing that he had a dad. So his mom has had to raise Springer all by herself. So she has this frustration and anger towards her whole family.
I think it's kind of weird that he didn't know he had a dad at all, because his mom could have said, oh, you have a dad, he's just not here. But he was completely left in the dark, which kind of seems like his mom's fault to a degree.
And I think the writers are introducing this at a great point for viewers to start thinking, well, did Springer have anything to do with the dad's death?
Yeah.
Was he the one that killed her to try to get revenge? Because Olivia is thinking the same thing, that maybe Springer was getting revenge at her for her dad. So Olivia is able to finally go into the room and gets his cell phone from the Ziploc bag that they have all his clothes in, and listens to a voice recording that's on there. Springer is talking to someone, it's a male, saying that he did as he wanted and he put the knife in their yard. So she knows Springer is the one who planted the knife. Who is, whoever he's talking to, we don't know yet. And
I think it's Dylan.
He also gets an interesting visit from Mr. Collins, who visits him in the emergency room. And right after Collins leaves his room, they
Code Blue. Is that a good impression?
I really hope Collins didn't do anything.
I don't think he did. I think that's another little trick to make us think Collins is bad, but I think he's good.
But I'm hoping he didn't do anything, but Springer survives. He's still alive.
Yeah.
So when Olivia goes back to visit him for the third time to return his phone,
he wakes up out of nowhere.
And he has some confessions to tell Olivia, and he admits that Dylan was the one that set him up and told him to plant the knife.
Yeah.
At this point, I think Olivia is just thinking, like, what is going on?
Yeah, she kind of seemed like she didn't believe him because, all high school girls love their boyfriends. Maybe not all, but they think they're the be-all and the end-all, and I'm sure she was going, oh, you're just jealous, or she's trying to come up with reasons for why he would lie to her. I don't know if she's fully committed to that.
I don't think Springer's going to be around much longer, but I think that bit of information is going to be very resourceful for her.
Yes.
Now she's going to try to dig for information and find out what happened.
Yeah.
And let's go back to Miranda and Caleb real quickly. When they're at the house, they see a writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And it says unseen forces. So Miranda thinks that it might be, was it Catherine?
No, it was Beatrice.
Beatrice. Where am I getting Catherine from?
Same era.
So she thinks it might be Beatrice, but I personally think it's not Beatrice. I think it might be someone else.
Yeah, hopefully it's not Black Coat.
So they start searching unseen forces and find out that it's a book. And they go to the library to find the book, and they're directed to what's his name?
Mr. Price.
Mr. Price's office. The librarian says that Mr. Price might have the book. Fishy kind of?
Yeah. He seemed nice at first, but then at the very end he said, like, welcome to whatever the high school's name is called.
And it was the author's name, right?
I think so. And it was kind of the way he, like, smirked after. I was like, uh-oh. He might not be all good.
I think he's definitely involved in the evil side of the pact. And once again, I could be wrong, so I'll take
He might just be an innocent bystander.
full responsibility, but I think he knows more than he's admitting, and he's testing Caleb to see how much do you believe in spirits.
Yeah. He was protesting a little loudly about, oh, well, I don't think if there were ghosts that they would be worth anything. And poor little Miranda's kind of whimpering.
And if he didn't believe in the ghosts, why do you have a book?
Yeah. Good
that
point.
You didn't let Caleb borrow.
Yeah.
And another clue that came in that episode was Miranda looking at the picture that was on his wall, and were those dead bodies on the ground?
It looked like it covered in
one was
canvas
raising up.
Yeah.
So
were there 5 dead bodies in that picture, by the way?
I thought I counted 4.
4.
But you guys can let us know.
Yes.
Log on to iTunes, YouTube, rate, comment, and just let us know what you guys think. I have some theories that I want to go into afterwards, and we definitely want you guys to let us know some of the answers because we're completely confused. So we want to know if Mr. Price is involved with the dark side. And I want to know if any of you guys have any comments as far as Remy's mom, if she's involved with the pact, and is she a survivor of the pact? And now the curse has moved on to another generation, which is her daughter. Because other than I was gonna say the original Caleb and Miranda, the new Caleb and Miranda, who have a history in and come from the past, we don't know about the rest of the group, how they're involved.
Yeah,
because they're not traveling in time. So I could see how Luke and Olivia can be involved because of their dad. Their dad had too much information, so I'm guessing the curse passed on from generation to generation to them. And now I'm thinking, okay, well, Remy's mom, after tonight's episode, is involved somehow. We just don't know how. So if she was saved by the curse, did it transfer to her daughter?
I just thought of another thing. When he said promises were paid, debts were owed, maybe this is like a little sub-pact that was made where they saved Remy's mom from a previous group of 5. But now, like, the debt that they had is their daughter. I don't know if that's even possible, but that could be another theory. That there was a trade made before.
So she was supposed to do evil?
Or Remy's mom was supposed to die in a pact before and didn't. And so now Remy is the replacement.
Okay.
I don't know if that's even possible, but could be an option, you know?
Well, we'll definitely have to wait and see for the next episode. Was there anything else that we didn't cover?
We talked about Miranda's new power, and it's actually called dream hacking.
Okay.
For future episodes.
Got it. If we miss anything, we're really sorry. We'll definitely catch up on the following upcoming episode. Do we have any news and gossip?
We don't today.
Sorry, guys.
These people just aren't crazy enough.
And we definitely want to thank all of our viewers, our fans on Twitter that tweet us all their theories and comments. We enjoy reading every single one of them. They're really interesting.
They are.
Do you have any predictions?
You know?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
That my prediction is going to be that Collins his good is going to show through shortly. We're going to find out what he's really doing. I think that he is a protector, and the only reason he seems creepy is because he's socially awkward, kind of like Edward Scissorhands, like I've said before. He just doesn't know how to interact without being a creep. And also, I'm really interested to see what this whole Remy thing is. Like, I think her mom is connected somehow, and I think that there was a trade made between them two. So I'm going to stick with those 2 predictions.
Okay. Predictions. So tough. There's so many of them, but I don't even know where to start. I'm going to predict that somehow, based on tonight's information that we got for the knife and how Olivia's mom's alibi didn't match to what she was saying, that she may end up in prison.
I agree with that one.
And I think maybe Collins is going to be the one who's going to take care of them.
Oh
As
my
she
gosh.
tells Tess in this episode, her mom is trying to find someone to fill in if she needs to be away for a while.
Do you think that the kids would move into Colin's house, or Collins would go stay at their house?
That much I don't know.
Because that would be creepy to live in that house.
I think we all agree. But
they might like it.
Feel safe having Miranda
That's
around
true.
and Caleb. So
That'd give him an excuse to do a little more hunting.
who knows? I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And, where can they find you, Sarah?
On Twitter at SarahGGG.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RealEmmaK. And don't forget to go on to iTunes, AfterBuzzTV.com, Twitter, rate, comment, give us 5 stars, and also log on to EmmaK'sCloset.com with promo code AfterBuzz. Thank you guys. Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.